everyone. Today we are going to start our new chapter. Its name is body movements. So, in body movements, first of all, we have to understand what is movement and locomotion. Okay, so why this is important? Because our body movements is directly dependent upon this movement and locomotion. So, when we move from our seat and go near a door, then come back, we will see that we are having a movement, isn't it? But there are kind of it. When we move from our seat and go near the door and again come back, this will be called locomotion. Okay, so what is movement now? So if you will just rotate your arm and close your fist, you will see that this is movement. So now you will be a little bit confused that what is movement and what is locomotion. So the movement of animals from one place to another is called locomotion. That means there should be a change of place in between them. So now if I am going to say you that locomotion is the displacement of a body from one place to another, where movement is the displacement of a body or a part of the body from the original position. Okay, so now the two systems of the body that help in the movement are skeletal system and muscular system. So after this we will be learning about the skeletal system and the muscular system. We always observe a framework inside a building, isn't it? You all know that without a complete framework, a building cannot be completed for creating it. Okay, so like the same thing, the same framework is found in our body also. The bones and the cartilage form the skeletal system. Okay, that is the framework exactly. So the bones and the cartilage form the skeletal system. Bones are hard while cartilages are elastic and soft. Okay, so if you want examples of cartilage, I can say you about, have you you can see your ear, that rings of trachea you will see. So that is made of what? Cartilage. So they are little bit flexible, not like the hard bones. Okay, and for example of bones you can see anywhere, it's in the ribs, in the breastbone. Okay, so likewise an adult human being and human body too has a framework, and that has 206 bones called skeleton. Okay, so now let us see the functions of skeleton. The skeletal system provides supports and gives shape to the body, first of all. Next is it protects the soft and delicate vital organs of our body. For example, the brain is protected by the skull, and the lungs and the heart are protected by our rib cage, that you will be able to see in the diagrams. Again, it plays very important role in the movement of the body parts, because now that it is the framework, so it is very important that in the movement part it will be 100% sure it will be there. So muscles are attached to the bones. Now bones and muscles work together to move all the parts of the body. Next is some bones enclose a soft tissue called the bone marrow. This bone marrow which forms the blood forming tissue. Okay, that is very important function of our skeletal system. Now bones store some important minerals such as calcium and phosphorus, which make them strong and hard. Okay, so these were the functions of the skeletal system. There are many functions, but these are some of it. Now let us see some types of functions, that how many types of skeletal systems are there. So there are two types of skeletal system. First one, that is known as exoskeleton, and another one that is known as endoskeleton. Okay, so what are these now? The hard outer covering on the body of some invertebrates are called exoskeleton. It protects the body, it is attached to the muscles and helps in movement. Animals like cockroaches and snails have an exoskeleton. Now about the endoskeleton, you see that it is the skeleton that is present inside an animal's body. All vertebrates such as fish, birds, mammals have endoskeleton. Okay. Now let us see about the parts of human skeleton. So the human skeleton consists of four basic parts. Okay, you will be able to see in the diagram the skull, backbone, rib cage and limbs. So first of all, you see about the skull. This is the very important part of it. The skull is made up of 22 bones of the head and the face. The head is made up of 8 bones which are fused together, and facial regions has 14 bones. Now what is the work of the skull? The skull protects the brain from injury, okay, and it also saves the inside parts of it. Now you see, except the lower jaw, that means the lower part, all other bones are fixed. That means except our teeth part. The movement of the lower jaw allows us to eat, talk and sing. Okay. So now let us see about the backbone. The backbone or the vertebral column starts from the base of the skull and end in the pelvis. Pelvis you will get in the diagram, okay. It is made up of 33 small ring shaped bones called vertebrae. Cartilage, a type of tissue, that I already told you that what is a cartilage. You will be get these things in ear, okay, a stretchable type of bone. So cartilage, a type of tissue, is present between two vertebrae. It is like a cushion, that means like a absorber, okay. It is like a cushion that acts as a shock absorber. The vertebral column encloses and protects the spinal cord. Now you see about the rib cage, that is in our front side. In the chest you will get this thing. There are 12 pairs of ribs. All of them are connected to the vertebral column at the back, okay. 10 pairs of ribs are connected to the flat breastbone. So that means you will see that breastbone, you can feel it by touching it, this one. So there are 10 pairs of it. They are called sternum. What is it? Sternum. Keep in mind, these things are very important for your examination purpose. It is present in the middle of the chest, okay. So now you see that the last two pairs are attached only to the vertebra and not to the sternum. So that is why it is called floating ribs, okay. So in examination it can come that why this rib cage is called these floating ribs. So it is called floating ribs because the ribs do not attach to the sternum at all. Instead, the ribs and their small costal cartilages terminate within the muscles of the lateral abdominal wall, okay. So you have to just write that these two pairs are attached only to the vertebra and not to the sternum. That is why this is called floating ribs, okay. Now what is its main function? The main function of the rib cage is to protect heart and lung. Now you see about the limbs, that there are two pairs of limbs in our body. The arms are called the forelimbs. Keep in mind, very important this one. The arms are called forelimbs and the legs are called hind limbs. Each limb consists of 3 bones. The upper arm or the forelimb has one bone. Keep in mind, the upper arm of the forelimb has one bone called humerus, and the lower arm has 2 bones called radius and ulna. You have to keep in mind, okay. The upper part of the hind limb has one bone called femur. It is the longest bone of the body. So what is femur? Femur is the longest bone of the body. You have to keep in mind the name, okay. The lower leg has 2 bones called tibia and fibula. These are all informative things you have to keep in mind, and these things you will get in the picture that I'll show you, okay. Now the forelimbs and the hind limbs are attached to the girdles. Girdles you will be able to see in the diagram also, that where the girdles are. There are many types of girdle: pectoral girdle, pelvic girdle. So the forelimbs are attached to the pectoral girdle. Forelimbs, that means you are understanding the arms of our body. They are connected to the pectoral girdle, which consists of shoulder blade and a collarbone. The hind limbs are attached to the pelvic girdle, which has a hip bone called pelvis. Let us say about now the connective tissue, okay. So besides bones, there are 3 types of connective tissue also there, which helps in our framework, okay. So in the skeletal system it is present. These are tendons, ligaments and cartilage. So the tendons attach muscles to the bones. You keep in mind what is it? The tendons attach muscles to the bones. Ligaments are strong and elastic bands of tissues that join bones together. So tendons, what are tendons? They attach muscles to the bones. What are ligaments? They attach two strong bones together. And the cartilage, as I already told you, that cartilage is present at the ends of the bones. It is like cushion which acts as a shock absorber and prevents rubbing of bones at the joints. Okay, so now let us see how joints work exactly. Okay, so the human body is not made of only a few large bones. It is also made of so many small bones also. So that small bones will be joined together, otherwise they will be apart from each other, isn't it? So how the bones are joined together? Let's see. The point at which the two or more bones are joined together are called joints. So the joints and the muscles allow the movement of the body. The body has three types of joints. First, fixed; second, immovable; and third one, the partially movable joints and the movable joints. Okay. So now you see, first of all, about the fixed type of joints. So fixed joints or immovable joints, these bones at the fixed joint lie against each other. So they always lie against each other and are fused together. There is no movement of bones because they are fixed or immovable joints. They, just suppose, if you want to take example, just take the example of your skull. So there is no movement of the bones in fixed joints. Joints that attach the ribs to the sternum and those found in the skull are called immovable joint. Okay, so they are exactly immovable joints. Now you see about the partially movable joints. If you have any doubt, because the names are very technical, so the thing is that you will see the diagram and you will learn the names. This is a new these are many new words, you will get it from here, so don't worry about it. You have to just learn it, and if you will learn it and if you will read again and again, it will become very simple for you. So don't worry about the new words and a little bit hard words. Okay, so let's see about the partially movable joints. These joints allow only limited movements. Such joints are found in the vertebral column, in our backside, no, in our backbone. So now what are movable joints? A joint that allows some amount of free movement of bones is called movable joints. Suppose ligaments are strong bands of connective tissues that hold these joints together. Okay, four main kind of movable joints are there in human body: ball and socket joint, hinge joint, pivot joint, and gliding joint. So these are very important in your with help of your examination purpose. Okay, it can come in your examination, so be careful for this one. So let us discuss about, first of all, ball and socket joint. It allows movement in the almost all the directions. Suppose, like in our hip we get these things. So this is found in the joints at the hip and the shoulder. So in, suppose your shoulder, you can move this in almost in all directions, isn't it? So the rounded end of one bone gets fitted into the cup shaped end of the other bone in this type of joint. So you will be able to see this thing in the diagram. Okay, now let us see about the hinge joint. It allows movement in one direction only. Keep in mind, hinge joints only allow the movement in one direction, either up and down or backward and forward, similar to the hinge joint of a door or a pencil box. This type of joint is present at the elbow and the knee. Okay, so now you see about the pivot joint. In this type of joint, the rounded end of one bone fits into a ring formed by the other bone. It is present in the first and the second vertebrae of the neck, which allows the head to move back and forth. So suppose in exam it comes like, which joint allows the head to move back and forth, so you have to say it is pivot joint. Okay, next you see about the gliding joint. So a gliding joint allows one bone to slide over another. This joint is found between the small bones of wrists and ankles. That's why we are able to move our ankle or like our wrist very easily. It allows simple movement of gliding back and forth or in the sideways. Okay, let us discuss about now the movement in human body. Okay, so bones and muscles work together for movement in human body. Bones cannot move on their own because they will need some muscles to like shock absorber in between them, and they cannot do all the works alone, so they are pulled by muscles. Muscles are tissues which contract and relax, cause movement. So that means contraction and relaxation leads movement. Okay, which muscles contract, they are get shorter. Suppose like when any muscles contract, they get shorter. It is very common thing. The body moves by contraction by the of the muscles. So let us consider the movement of our arm. First of all, the muscle on the front of the upper arm are biceps, and on the back of the upper arm are known as triceps. You will be able to see the diagram. Okay, just listen to my voice after watching the diagram. Okay, because at that time only you will be able to understand this thing. In order to bend and straighten the elbow joint, the biceps and the triceps act against one another. When the biceps contract, the tricep relax and the arm is pulled. This causes the arm to bend at the elbow. When the triceps contract, the biceps relax and the arms is straight at that part. So similarly, the same things happen in our legs also. So by this way, our body's parts move exactly. Okay. Sometimes we want to touch our bones, isn't it? We want the exact picture of our bones. So by only touching them, we will not be able to get this thing. So how we are going to get the exact picture? Sometimes we go to doctor and they always say what to do the x-ray of it. So by the x-ray image of the body, it what it does, it exactly gives us the exact shape, size and the number of bones in the human body. As we have discussed about the human body, so now let us see some of the different animals movement. So exactly how they move. Okay, so you see that first of all we are going to talk about the earthworms. Earthworms are invertebrates. So what are invertebrates exactly? Invertebrates are those who do not have like backbone. Okay, they don't have backbone inside them. So earthworms are invertebrates. Their body shape is maintained by fluid present inside their body. Their body is made up of several parts called segments. So they are made up of segments. Okay, they move by the action of two groups of muscles and bristle like structures called setae. So keep in mind that in exam it can come that what is setae, so you have to write that one. One group of circular muscles surrounds the earthworms like a set of rings. You will be able to see these things in diagram. The other group of longitudinal muscles runs along the length of the body. The setae act as anchor to grip the surface of the earthworms to move forward. Okay, because it will need to move forward, and some things that is needed by the earthworm to grip the soil, it is the setae. Okay, you have to keep in mind this thing. Now to move forward, the earthworm first grips the surface at the tail, or you can say the posterior end. That means the tail. Okay, the circular muscle contract and the body becomes longer and narrower. Now the earthworm grips the surface at the anterior. Anterior means the head and posterior means the tail. Okay, and loosens the posterior end. The lengthwise muscles contract, the body gets thicker, shorter, and it's move forward. The action of these muscle groups causes a wave-like motion that moves the earthworm through the soil. Earthworm's body secretes a slimy substance. The name is not written in the book. You have to keep in mind that the name of that slimy substance that is secreted by the earthworm, it is known as mucus, which further helps in its movement. Okay, to see about snail. So the snail, an invertebrate, has an outer shell for protection. It has a slimy body without the bones. It moves with the help of muscular organ known as foot. The muscle in the foot contract and relax, which make a wave-like movement and secretes a slimy substance known as mucus. Okay, this enables the snail to move with ease. It is able to move with ease even on the sharp edges also, without any injury because of the mucus. Okay, so mucus is very important for snail. It allows and helps in many ways to the snail. Now let us talk about the fish, okay, and its structure. So the body of the fish is broader in the middle and narrow at both ends. This is called streamlined shape. A streamlined shape offers least resistance, so the fish can cut through water more efficiently. Fish have special structures called fins that helps them to move through water. Okay, so many fins, you will get dorsal fin, pectoral fin, pelvic fin and tail fin. So you will get this thing in diagram where it is present. Okay, so the function of the fins is to maintain balance of the body during swimming. The paired fins consist of pectoral and the pelvic fins. The pectoral fins are used to change the direction and slow down or to stop movement. The pelvic fins are used for the balance, for preventing diving and rolling movement. So keep in mind the function of pectoral and pelvic fin. Okay, it can come in exam. The unpaired fins consist of one dorsal and one tail fin. Now you see about cockroach, that though a cockroach has two pair of wings, it can only fly very short distance. It can run very quickly with the help of its three pairs of legs. It can also climb up walls. They walk by moving three legs at a time. What is it? They walk by moving three legs at a time. Keep in mind this thing. Okay, this is a little interesting fact about it. So three legs move forward while the other three legs remain on the ground. Then these three legs move and the first three legs remain on the ground. By this way it actually moves. Now let us talk about the movement of the birds. Birds too have a streamlined body like that fish, no, to come over resistance. Okay, the skeleton of the bird is highly adapted for flying. They have hollow bones to reduce weight. So if someone asks that why hollow bones are there, so it is for reduced weight. Okay, it also gives the shape of it. They lack teeth like us, that we have teeth but they don't have, and instead they have a lightweight beak. The two hind limbs are used for walking and perching. The two forelimbs are there of the birds are modified as wings, which are used for flying. The whole body, including the wing, is covered with feathers. Okay, so feathers are very important for them. It also helps in their cold time. There are different kind of feathers on the body of a bird, and each kind of feather has a different purpose. Growing close to the skin of a bird are soft down feathers. It's the name of the feather. Okay, soft down feathers. It is very close to the skin. There are spaces between these down feathers where air is trapped. The air in these spaces is warmed up by the heat from the bird's body. There is a second kind of feathers called contour feather, okay, which lie over the down feathers. The large flight feathers are third kind of feathers that are found on the wings and tail. The lift and the balance needed for flying are given by the flight feathers. So every feather has its own work. You just keep in mind that things. Okay, most of the birds fly. They show two kinds of movements in flying. First one, that is known as downstroke, and another one that is known as upstroke. The downstroke is the downward and forward movement of the wing, which lift the body, which lift the bird's body up. Okay, and the upstroke involves the upward movement of the wings. And the last movement to discuss is the movement of the snakes. Okay, so snakes do not have legs, that we all know. So they use their muscles and their scales to do walking. A snake will not be able to move on a smooth surface like glass because there is nothing to grab on it, because it needs some friction. to move it. The scales on their bellies also act as anchors. Mostly snakes move in a wave-like manner. So the question is why they exactly move in a wave-like manner or in a S-type manner. So snakes move in the S-shaped manner because it is S-shaped or loop, you can say. So each loop or a wave gives it a forward push by pressing against the ground. Since its long body, it will make many loops or waves, and each loop gives it a push. So the snakes move forward with the help of these waves or S type structure very fast and not in a straight line. Okay, so I hope you got this chapter. After this, you just do the textual questions and send it to me. Okay.